North Korea is going boots on the ground to support Russia's war in Ukraine. Just what does this mean for the war and for the Korean Peninsula and the West? I'm Paul, U.S. Army combat veteran. Let's talk about it. This story actually really did shock me. I was not expecting this. Pyongyang has announced very publicly that it's going to send troops to Ukraine within a month, pursuant to their June 19th defense pact signed between Russia and North Korea, which included a promise to provide military assistance to one another. Right? And then a few days later, Pyongyang announces it's sending troops to Ukraine. Now, as I pointed out, the term military assistance is broad, and it's something that, frankly, North Korea has already provided to Russia, having sold Russia a lot of their artillery shells, around 2 million. And now they are going to be sending a troop contingent to Ukraine. And now the actual amount, let's see if I can find it here, is going to be initially, at least, an engineering unit. It will be sending troops in the form of a military engineering unit to support Russian forces on the ground in the Donetsk region. So that is going to be a military contingent operating there and in Donetsk. Now, this doesn't sound like it's going to be a frontline unit. It's tough to say, right, what this unit's role is going to be. The DPRK, as I point out, has already supplied artillery, ammunition, rockets for multiple Russian MLRS systems, as well as allegedly some ballistic missiles. But the Pentagon has their own kind of stance on this. And before we talk about that, I wanted to just mention, if you haven't picked up your Strike gum, you absolutely should. It's the energy drink, zero sugar energy drink alternative. 90 milligrams of caffeine in every piece. That's as much as an Amp Energy, as much as a Red Bull, just in this thing. You guys know energy drinks are like $4.5, $5 a pop now. Inflation is crazy. So you can get, again, the equivalent of 5 energy drinks in one of these packs. So you can go to Strike Gum if you want to get like the veterans discount and the new customer discount, or you can just go to Amazon and search Strike Gum. We actually just rolled out the 5-pack where you can get 5 packs of 5 pieces each, the equivalent of 25 energy drinks for $25. It's a great deal. And thanks to everybody that's left us the reviews on Amazon. They've helped really get the word out that this is the better product. It's made in the USA, veteran owned, natural in caffeine, none of the weird encapsulated lab stuff that you see some other competing energy caffeinated gums have. So thanks. Check us out, strikegum.com, or just search Strike Gum on Amazon. Okay, the Pentagon has their own stance on this, right? And they're saying these North Korean troops are going to be cannon fodder. The quote is, "I think if I were North Korean military personnel management, I would be questioning my choices, sending forces to be cannon fodder in an illegal war against Ukraine," right? Writer also said, quote, "We've seen the kind of casualties that Russian forces have," and implying that similar casualty rates will be incurred by North Korea. But there's a couple of sort of caveats here. First off, why does Pyongyang want to do this? Well, I think there's a couple of reasons. The first is that the North Korean military has never been combat tested, right? Not since the Korean War. And the military leadership is likely looking at saying, listen, we need to learn on the ground how to conduct a modern war, right? And this is where you want to do it, especially because the strategy Russia's pursuing with high casualties, high attrition is something that the North Koreans would likely want to adopt themselves. And so sending a military engineering unit is exactly the kind of unit you would want to be involved in this operation, right? They're going to see how entrenching, how mining, they're going to learn a lot of new things that they're going to bring back to North Korea, who, again, maintains a large demilitarized zone and likely believes, truly or not, that the West is jonesing for an invasion, or the South is jonesing to invade North Korea. So North Korea learning from the Russians is definitely a priority, but North Korea also has the personnel to spare, right? This is the Korean People's Army, North Korea's military, and you can see that it has mandatory conscription between the ages of 17 to 30 years of age. which is the 5th largest army in the world with 1.3 million active personnel and another 500,000 reserve personnel. 5% of the North Korean GDP goes into this. So again, you're looking at North Korea could send easily a tenth of their active personnel force just to accrue some experience and get combat time. And it would be a game-changing source of personnel to them. Now, the only thing that kind of caveats them, that's going to hold the North Koreans back, is the fact that this is also a deterrent force, right? This is deterring North Korea, they believe, or South Korea, they believe, from invading, right? Their large military personnel. But as you guys know, North Korea is also a nuclear state, meaning that, as we pointed out with Russia, where if you have a nuclear deterrent, your conventional deterrent can actually afford to take a hit. And so this kind of long-term investment in turning the North Korean military into something that looks like the current Russian military is something that's probably pretty appealing to someone like Kim Jong-un. So that is what I suspect may be occurring. That would be the worst case scenario, truly, to see a 6-figure movement of troops to the Russian-occupied Ukraine to join the fight. The problem is, again, this is dangerous for a bunch of reasons. One, while Russian troops have training measured in days or hours, these troops may at least have a pretty robust basic training, a complete basic training. Now, famously, the North Korean military is oftentimes used for non-military things, like they conduct a lot of farming operations, oftentimes simple area beautification or construction projects. And that's simply because they have it's cheap manpower. And you cannot pull out all 18 to 30-year-old males from your society and have it continue to function in a robust way if they don't make some kind of economic contribution, right? I mean, imagine all the economic output that 17 to 30-year-old men do in the United States, right? They probably make up a large portion of the country's most productive workers. And so siphoning them into this military system is not something North Korea wants to do entirely. But again, able-bodied, military trained, proficient, and hard workers, right? Like, that's the thing. If you can farm, you can dig a trench. And if you can dig a trench, you could fight in Ukraine. So, yeah. Now, the question is, right, the U.S. is like, oh, they're going to be cannon fodder. And I don't think that North Korea cares. I just don't. Remember, for a lot of authoritarian societies, the demographic that is the biggest risk of unrest is oftentimes young men. So while North Korea's officer corps will likely accrue a lot of valuable combat experience, killing off large numbers of North Korean men is not that big a problem for the North. Right? Especially when you're an authoritarian state. You can solve problems all kinds of crazy ways. So anyway, guys, that is really all I had for now. We're going to see more as we learn more. I'm going to keep my eye on this story for sure. Thanks to the Colonel tier members of combatvetnews.com. Thanks to the Lieutenant tier members. Could not do this all without you guys. I appreciate you so much, and I will see you in the next one. Cheers.